advocacy and leadership. I want Queens to lead on these issues. We need Queens to lead on these issues. And QSWAB, I envision, is going to play a primary role in developing our plan and advocating for how our borough and city responds to the environmental challenges we must face in the future now. The first thing I want to emphasize is that we should think big. I'm not interested in just simply small ideas. Of course, we want tangible ideas as well, but we should think big and outside of the box. For too long, the focus in our city and elsewhere has been almost entirely been on what individuals need to do for the environment. Are you properly sorting your recycling? Are you composting? Are you littering? Are you limiting your individual carbon footprint? Of course, it's important for individuals to make responsible choices around their waste to reduce, reuse, and recycle as the old maxim goes. And we want to ensure that every resident in Queens is doing everything they can. But focusing entirely on what individuals should do puts the onus on the individual and obscures the fact that national or statewide or citywide or event borough-wide policy is what really moves the needle in a meaningful way. So we do need to see policies. And of course, we all have our own responsibilities to bring that plastic back. Proud to have been our early co-sponsor of the 5 cents bill as well. But yes, we do have to put the onus on us, but it doesn't, like I said, obscure the fact that there are policies that the city and everybody else should be working on. The fact is that our city can, should, and must do more to bring us to a zero waste future. We've had some positive announcements from City Hall recently, including the restoration of curbside composting, as I mentioned, and a greater commitment to sustainability initiatives, including a multifold increase in the number of safe, hazardous waste disposal events. We should laud those efforts, but recognize that they're not enough. We should think big, but we should also think about these issues with a lens towards racial equity and justice. One of my goals in selecting QSWAB appointees was to ensure that we had voices from all over the borough because each community faces different challenges. And the truth is that some communities, predominantly communities of color, have inequitably borne the impacts of our waste management system for far too long. And I'm a Southeast Queens kid, and I'm sure everybody's aware of that. Only a few years ago, it was found that approximately 80% of the waste our city produces was hauled to transfer stations in North Brooklyn, Southeast Queens, and the South Bronx, communities that are home to predominantly minority populations. Waste equity legislation passed the city council. I was very proud to be a leader on that and to make sure Queens was in that bill as well as we sought to improve those numbers. But the legacy, the constant truck traffic and spewed particulate matter and other known and unknown health impacts continues to impact communities of color disproportionately. Ultimately, it is imperative that the communities facing the highest risk get the most attention, and I ask that you keep that in mind as you get to work. These are big issues, and I don't want to walk on, I don't walk on water or have all the answers. Have you ever heard an elected official say that? I don't walk on water and I don't have all the answers. I will need your input from those who are experts, who care, and who are impacted. I'll end with this. I'm aware that other boroughs have active and hardworking SWABs, and I hope you work with them, collaborate with them, and learn from them as well. But I will not accept you being outworked by them or out-imagined by them. And that's the way I want to end tonight. I'm going to turn this over. General Counsel, who would normally run this meeting, Alan Swisher, his wife went into labor today. So unfortunately, he could not join us. So congratulations, Alan. I texted him, but I'm sure he's a little busy today. So he'll be your point of contact, I'm sure, as we move forward. We also have my other staff members on, so I'll allow them to introduce themselves. I'll start with our Deputy Borough President, Rhonda Benda, and then we'll work our way around, and then they will take over this meeting so I can get to my other spot. So I'll go to you, Rhonda.
Thank you so much, Borough President. Congratulations to everyone here today. This was our major announcement. As you know, the Borough President loves the planet, and this was the major Earth Day announcement, but we are at the beginning of really transformative work under his vision and leadership. So I just want to say thank you on behalf of Alan, who's not here as well, for all the hard work. And I'll introduce my colleague, Joe Nocerino.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Rhonda, Deputy Rhonda. Thank you, Borough President. He certainly is the right guy at the right time, and all you Q-Swab folks will feel that. As in the last bit of time, we've struggled, but you've kept the light lit, and now it's going to rush forward under his administration. So I will be here to guide us along on an operational point of view, as I have with Wiley and Amy previously, and I will attend everything and help facilitate wherever I can. So congratulations to all of you. It's a great step for Queens.
Thank you, Joe. All righty, so I'm now going to turn it over. Oh, is Frank on? I didn't see Frank. All righty, so give me 1 minute. I think who's going through the bylaws?
I think we're going to let Wiley or Amy handle.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I'm sorry. You know what? I got to look at the agenda so I know who's going next.
That's all right.
So we'll go to Wiley now. And I want to thank you, Wiley, for your work and leadership.
Thank you, Borough President, and thank you, Jonah Serino and Alan, all the people who have supported us. We really do appreciate it, and we're excited to work with you. Actually, I'm going to turn it over to Amy to talk about bylaws. She and both Andrea Scarborough, who's on this call, so I'm really excited as part of our Queens Swab group as well. They've been some of the main people working on bylaws, and so we'll just be sharing some of the key points. And just to say that our bylaws are very much guided by and informed by the other swabs in Manhattan and Brooklyn. So we have tried to really learn from their experience.
So before we do that, Wiley, why don't we first, now that I got my agenda in front of me, we'll do roll call and introduction of Q-Swab members. So if you can briefly say your name, I think I'm doing this the right way, and where you reside at and what brings you here or what organization you're part of, we'll go from there. So we'll start with Reverend, we'll start with CB12. And I'll go down, let me just go down my list.
Okay, good evening.
Reverend Thorbs.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Carlene Thorbs. I am the chair of Community Board 12. And I've come to this committee because, as you know, waste is a huge topic for all of us across the board. And so I figured this would be the opportunity for me to be in the forefront, leading from the front, not from behind, and to just be ahead of what's going on for our communities across the board. I look forward to working with you. I look forward to learning as much as possible and helping in any way that I can. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, some of y'all don't have your names, you just got your affiliation. So I'm gonna go to, I'll go to Community Board 5 is who I see next. I see 2 people from CB5.
Hi, I'm Paul Kersner, new member, but an old member to the environment. I guess I'm one of the few people in Queens who has solar power on his roof, and we've had it for the last 14 years, and it works. And I can tell you that my electric bill from Con Ed is about $14 and change every month, 12 months a year. So
Wow.
It works. And one of the things that we have to do is improve the tax credits so that more people can afford to have solar power, because that not only saves the environment, but it also reduces generation by gas generating stations at Con Ed.
Thank you for that. Thank you. So we're gonna do brief so we can get through to the agenda. So just who you are, who you're representing. See the chair of CB5 on? This one. Are you unmuted? Did you go?
Our district manager is on.
District man, sorry, I'm still learning everybody's titles. It's hard doing this stuff virtually. Not district manager.
Yeah, I'm Gary Giordano. I'm the district manager of Board 5. Thank you for for putting this together, and especially Wiley and the others who've gotten us to this point. But we've got a lot of waste that we export. It's probably one of our biggest exports, and that needs to change.
Got it. All right, let's go to Susan Clary.
Hi, I'm from CB8, and I'm just a general regular member. But I love this planet. I want to save the oceans and do anything that I can to help.
Awesome. Adam Mitchell. Adam Mitchell on? I think I see it.
Hey, Adam Mitchell. I'm on the executive team at Mr. T Karting. It's my 5th year working with that group. And I was a member of the Queen Swab in the 1990s, and I'm psyched that you brought it back. Thank you.
Awesome. Amy Markman.
Hi, thank you for all of your work in supporting us. I'm Amy Martman. I'm let's see, one of the co-founders with Wiley of the reiteration of the Queen's Swab Organizing Committee. So I'm very glad and thankful for everybody's hard work along this way, and glad to see what it will become.
All righty. Andrea Scarborough. See her here. She's not unmuted. Andrea? All righty. Oh, there you go. There you go. Hello.
Thank you so much for recognizing QSWAB, and I truly look forward to your leadership. As you know, I am a resident of Southeast Queens. I come from Community Board 12, and in Southeast Queens, as you know, we have environmental justice issues, of which one is solid waste. So my hope is that through QSWAB, that the conditions in my community can be improved, and that's why I'm here. I look forward to working with everyone.
Thank you. All righty, Anita Chan.
Hi everyone, Anita here. I reside in Community Board 1. I'm here in a personal capacity, and I'm very interested in learning more about waste and being a part of solution. Thanks.
Thank you. Bilal Key.
Good evening, everybody. Grateful to be here. Thank you to Queensborough President Albert Richards and the whole team. Just grateful to be here. Big environmental justice and environmental sustainability guru. I'm just happy to be here in the space and happy to contribute as well.
All right, we're going to CB1. Antonella.
Hi, I'm the chair of the Environmental Protection Committee at CB1, and I echo everyone's sentiments. That's all.
Great, thank you. All righty, CB10, Anthony Garcia.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you, Borough President Richards, and all of the panelists here. As a young person, I'm deeply passionate about the environment. And as a member of South Ozone Park, I see all the trash here and want to be part of the solution and hopefully learn a lot in how we can change it.
Awesome. CB13, Alan Barrett.
Good evening, everyone. I just want to send a shout out to now Borough President Richards for believing in me a long time ago, putting me on the community board. I'm just a regular board member. I'm also the criminal justice chair for the NAACP. Looking forward to connecting with you all and just really examining the cascading consequences of what happens when marginalized communities, when we look into environmental impact. Thank you.
Thank you. CB2, Frank Wu.
Hey everybody, my name is Frank. I'm in Long Island City and I'm on the community board too. Like everyone else, I assume we're all very involved in our local communities. I'm really excited to chair the environmental committee now in community board too. I feel like it doesn't get as much attention compared to other things like land use and transportation, but it's everything really, right? And I'm excited that there's a larger theme, right, beyond the individual community board levels, and we're going to collaborate with the other swabs from the other boroughs too. So really happy to be here. Thanks.
Alex Cohen, CB6.
Hi everyone, I'm Alex Cohen. I'm representing Community Board 6, where I chair the Environmental Committee, and I also work professionally as a sustainability consultant. So eager to see what knowledge I could bring from that to this role.
Thank you. Charles Yu.
Yes, thank you very much, VP Richards. Represent here, Charles Yu here representing the Long Island City Partnership and also representing the businesses in Queens.
Thank you. Cody Herman.
Hi, my name is Cody. I'm new to Queen Swab. I'm here on behalf of Guardians of Flushing Bay. We're concerned about a lot of solid waste issues, whether it's derelict barges in Flushing Bay or combined sewage overflow. That's kind of where our priority is at. Also newly appointed to Community Board 7, so maybe I could ask them about doing double duty here. I'm not sure if anybody else is here from CB7, but yeah, thanks so much.
Person, great. All righty, Diana Rose.
No, but CB8 supports you.
I see one more person from CB7. No. Diana Rose.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much, Queens Board President Donovan Richards. It's a pleasure to be here to serve people and planet. So I'm just here to be a servant in any capacity that I can be.
All right, Dr. James Servino, CB7.
Hi, this is James Servino. I'm very much interested in climate change, sea level rise, and point sources of pollution, and looking forward to being a part of this new SWAB. Thank you for having me. I'm also on Community Board 7 as the environmental chair.
Thank you. Fatima Correa. Fatima? Oh, I see you. You got to unmute yourself, though. And I'm doing this because I want everybody to hear each other's voice. Like, we could read down the list, but I think it's important that we all hear each other for the first meeting, at least. Fatima Correa. All right, you went somewhere. All right, we're going to move on to Janet Ferreira.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, my name is Shannon Ferreira, and I am, when I joined QSWAB about 3 months ago. So at the time I was living in Astoria, but now I live in Floral Park. And as a Queens native, I'm just concerned as my borough, as well as the city, on a lot of issues, and my background's in fashion and textiles. But recently throughout my career, I've always added like sustainability practices, and recently received a certificate for sustainable. So I feel like from like textiles to compost, just to be a part of that, I'm really excited to join the team.
Great, thank you. Jasmine McPherson. Jasmine.
Hi, I'm really grateful to be a part of this. I'm new to Queens. I just moved here about a year ago from California, and I was a very huge advocate on just helping the environment and keeping my community clean. And I'm excited to see what we can do.
Awesome. Well, congratulations. You moved to the best place in the world from sunny California. We're going to move on now. Jennifer Walden Weprin.
Hi, I'm new to the board. I am the executive director of the Queens County Farm Museum, and I'm excited to support the work of ours together and bring the resources of the farm to the committee as well.
Awesome. Great to see you. Jennifer Maldonado.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jennifer Maldonado. As a resident in Queens Community District 3 in Jackson Heights, I'm a young individual who's always been interested and passionate about environmental issues, and I would love to be working with you all now at the local level in our beautiful but complicated niche of our city's waste system. So I'm looking forward to that. Thank you all.
Thank you. Jenny Lynn.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jenny. I live in Astoria. I helped with the State of Waste report, and I'm excited to be official part of QSOP.
Awesome. Cangela Moore, I've known her a long time. Whoa, 15 years. I'm showing my age.
And congratulations. I'm looking forward to your leadership with this committee. So I'm the borough, did I say I'm the borough president?
If you want it for a day, try it and let's see
That's
if you
right.
can keep it.
So I'm on Community Board 13. I'm the chair of the Senior Special Needs Committee. I'm also the president of Friends of Brookville Park. And I also helped with sanitation rollout of the composting. So I'm glad it's back. I'm glad we're doing what we do in our community. And thank you. And looking forward to helping the environment.
Great, thank you. And thank you for always being consistent on these issues. Karen Napolitano. Karen Napolitano.
Got it. Hi, everyone. Karen Napolitano. I reside in Long Island City in Community Board 2, and I am the Education and Outreach Coordinator for Sims Municipal Recycling. We have that really big material recovery facility in Sunset Park, Brooklyn, where we sort 100% of New York City's residential metal, glass, and plastic recycling.
I was supposed to come to the ribbon cutting on that one. I remember I got very sick that day. It's like, I feel like 4 or 5 years ago.
One day we'll open again. You can
Yeah. Catherine Servino.
Hi, thanks for the opportunity to serve on SWAB. I'm the president of Coastal Preservation Network, a nonprofit that deals with waterfront and waste issues in College Point, Queens, where we have a sewage treatment plant, a marine transfer facility, and a lot of floating pollution issues here. And I'm also a part of a Better College Point Civic Association. And I have a screaming parrot in the background. I am so sorry. I'm going to mute myself right now.
Probably wants a cracker. We're going to go now to Mac Lawrence. And you're on the beach too with the parrot. It's great. Right, Mac Lawrence.
Yes, good evening, everybody. Thank you to Queensborough President Donovan Richards. Thank you to Wiley, Andrea, Amy, and all of the longtime organizing committee members that helped to get this board reestablished. But 2 years, and Adam as well, I'm sorry. 2 years in the making, but we did it, we're here. And, I'm a Southeast Queens native. I'm part of Community Board 12. I live in Community Board 12. Longtime environmentalist and advocate for the environment, and just happy that there's a place that we can all come together and, just help improve the quality of life in our neighborhood.
Thank you. Megan Rockwell.
Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you all. Look forward to working with you. My name is Megan Rockwell. I live in Jackson Heights. I'm on the executive committee of Community Board 3, so I'm the representative here. I am an attorney, and I at one time worked in the solar project development space, where I thought was fascinating and got me interested in clean energy. And now I do a lot of restaurant work, and I think there's so much that can be done with the restaurant industry that has a big impact on sustainability and waste and things like that. So I look forward to working with everyone.
Thank you. Rochelle Boglin.
Hi, I'm Rachel Boglin. I live in
Rachel,
Community
sorry.
Board. Oh no, you're fine. I live in Community Board 1, and I've been involved with the SWAB organizing committee since 2018. Master composter, background in parks, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you for making this happen.
Awesome. Richard Nunez Lawrence.
Great to meet you. Great to meet everybody here. K-SWAB is a great opportunity for me. I've been active in a lot of different parts of policy for the last 15 to 20 years. And when it comes to what I'm doing right now, I'm a deputy chief of staff in the city council for Darma Diaz. And so I do a lot of legislative work in addition to budget and comms. So a lot of the sustainability issues that we come across, a lot of times I'm researching, I'm putting legislation through. So not only am I active on the sustainable front, and especially local, but I'm definitely active on the policy front. So I think, hearing everybody, I think this is going to be a great opportunity for us to get a lot of good things done. Thanks.
Great. I didn't know that. Congratulations, by the way. All right, Ruth Essa.
Hi. Yes, that's right, Isa. Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I joined QSWAB last year. I'm a nurse. I'm an ICU nurse at LIJ Hospital. I'm very involved with the environmental issues. I also became a compost master last year. I do some composting for myself in my backyard. Thank you, Wiley, for everything, for bringing about QSWAP, and I'm so happy to be part of this group and to learn from everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Ryan Brenner.
Yes, hi, thank you. I'm very excited to be here. Excited QSWAB's up and running. I'm a new member. I'm with an environmental group called NYCH2O. We work across the city doing environmental education with public school kids, as well as things like beach cleanups. But our big focus is work on Ridgewood Reservoir and in Ridgewood, Queens. Yeah.
Thank you. Susan Clary, CB8.
I thought we already talked.
Oh, I did. Okay, sorry. All
So
right.
glad to see you.
You too. So good to see you. Susan Latham. Did I do Susan?
Hi, everybody. No, I did that. Susan Latham, Community Board 3. I live in Jackson Heights for many years. I am a longtime environmental advocate, very involved in my neighborhood. My day job is at the Queens Public Library Foundation. And what my hope is that I can provide help with raising the volume on issues with communication and fundraising experience. And thank you for recognizing our QSWAB. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you. Toby Shepherd Block.
Good evening, Borough President. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm a social entrepreneur and environmental activist that lives in Glendale. I pursue nature-based solutions to climate change that generate employment opportunities for the community members who are most directly impacted. Right now, working on ocean farming.
Awesome. Vanessa Ventola.
Hi, everyone. I'm participating as an individual. In the past, I worked for the New York City Compost Project and taught the Master Composter course for a couple of years. I have a master's in sustainability, and my research on residential plastic waste recovery was published about a week ago for the very first time. I'm in Astoria and from College Point.
Awesome. Fatima, oh, it's Fatima back? I think Fatima was the one, the young lady. Okay. All righty. So I think we got, well, congratulations. Did I miss anyone? Okay, let me see. Who did I miss? All right.
Mary Arnold.
Okay. Unmute you. Oh, okay. Unmute you. Oh, Ali.
Thank you, Borough President. Ali Rasulinejad, representing Councilmember Danique Miller from Southeast Queens. And looking forward to working with everyone here to build a greener Queens and address some of the historical inequities and environmental injustices in Southeast Queens, because we know that the status quo just hasn't worked out. So thank you.
Thank you. Getting party in a Nabjot, and he's representing newly elected Councilmember Jim Gennaro, and also the chairman of the Environmental Protection Committee again.
Thank you, Queens Borough President. My name is Navjot, and I'm representing Councilmember Jim Gennaro of the 24th District, and our local community board is Community Board 8. As the Queens Borough President said, Councilmember Gennaro is the new chair of the Environmental Protection Committee at City Council. He could not be here tonight, but he's very passionate about these issues, and I'm happy to hear you all out and talk to him about this. So thank you, Queensborough resident.
Thank you. All right, so now we're going to get to what we've all been waiting for, those exciting bylaws. So I'm going back to Wiley.
We have one more person,
one more.
actually. Sorry, Mary Arnold.
I didn't see her. Mary?
Yeah, Mary.
Oh, hi, Mary. No.
Hi. I am representing Civics United for Railroad Environmental Solutions, and we've been working on making freight rail in New York City actually green, more sustainable since 2009. And there's some low-hanging fruit there. Waste management has set a great example with that new locomotive, and really looking forward to having these issues elevated and seeing some of them actually implemented under your leadership, Borough President.
Thank you so much. All right. Now, did I miss anyone else? This is your moment. You all look like queens. I can tell you, I'm looking at this gallery view and it's really amazing. It's really amazing. So I'm honored to do this. All righty. So I'm now going to turn it over to Wiley now for the exciting bylaws conversation.
Okay, thank you so much. And I'm going to let Amy kind of walk through this for everybody, if that's okay. Again, I understand that the borough presidents, that Alan and the legal team there has, had some time to look through this and potentially make some comments to it. So I will let Amy take over.
Yeah, hi. Hopefully you can all see my screen. So Alan had asked us to go through this just really high level and briefly. He sent it out, and if you haven't received it, maybe we can send it out to all members again. So yeah, Andrea Scarborough put together a lot of this. She headed up our effort to create this draft of the bylaws based on the other SWABs, Manhattan SWAB and Brooklyn SWAB specifically. And then we provided, we did actually have a couple of working group meetings and circulated it within the organizing committee to get some feedback and some input. We had a final draft that then we submitted to Mr. Swisher for review and legal, legal review and suggestions. And so this is the final draft then that has been circulated. I don't know if anybody has any comments right now, but he has requested for everyone to review it and to submit any questions, concerns, comments, etc., to legal@queensbp.org. So it's legal@queensbp.org in advance of the next meeting. So at the next meeting in May, that we'll be able to vote and adopt these so that any changes can be made prior to that. Does anybody have any questions? Thanks, Joe. Joe posted the email in the chat box.
I'll just add something to what Amy said is that what's really important, the SWAB doesn't work unless we're all, unless we show up, just like any group or anything that anyone does. And one of the ways that we can show up is not just, of course, by becoming members of the Queen's SWAB, but actually by joining a committee. And there's some flexibility about what those committees are, and that will be probably up to all of you to decide. The Manhattan SWAB has like a legislative committee. The Brooklyn SWAB has a committee that is very focused on organics and composting. One of the things that potentially the Q SWAB could do is have a committee, again, focused on environmental justice or focused on construction and demolition waste, commercial waste, which is something the other SWABs really don't dive into nearly as much as they could. And there's a lot of construction activity happening in Queens that could make that a unique and distinct focus of this SWAB. So something to think about before the next meeting.
Yeah, thank you, Wiley. That's a very important point. I think some of the historical conversation about committees was along the lines of, I think we called them, where they engage, explore, and educate. And, those are suggestions. I'm sure a lot of you have ideas and suggestions as well. And so that is also something to think about to bring forward for the next meeting as well. So we can develop and have those committees in place.
Joe, I don't know if you have the agenda maybe to.
Yes, I do. So if you're over discussing the bylaws, and then folks will put their responses in, and the next meeting, hopefully you will adopt or amend and vote that in. But I think now what we would like to do is go to the presentation on the state of waste in Queens. Wiley, that I would assume that would be you.
So we're going to sort of tag team a little bit. Amy's going to start. That's okay. Yeah, no, Amy's going to start and share. We both have the same presentation. So she's going to just kind of, again, get people a little bit up to speed about what the Queens SWAB Organizing Committee, has been doing. And if she's able to, sorry, I'm going to raise my volume in case people can't hear me. to share our, well, maybe a little bit of our website for people if they haven't visited it. And then she'll turn it over to me, and yes, I'll talk about the state of waste in Queens report. Is that better? I'm sorry, everyone.
Yeah.
My laptop was hidden a little bit, my speaker. Sorry about that.
So yeah, so Wiley's going to give an update on the state of waste of Queens report, which is really kind of the culmination of, well, one, a lot of hard work and effort, and thank you to everyone who contributed to that amazing report. She'll go over that, some of the key findings, and that's really a culmination of a lot of activity that we have done. I just wanted to give a brief overview and history of kind of where we started. And I have to give credit to Jacqueline Ottman, former member or president of the Manhattan Swab, who introduced myself and Wiley. She pushed for a while to get us started on a Queen Swab. And so Wiley and I came together in January of 2018. And we met at Maggie May's bar in Sunnyside. I'm looking at my notes here with a few other folks, and it just, it did grow from there. So we had a total of 37 meetings since then at 18 locations across Queens. And several of those meetings we were able to be hosted at Queensborough Hall. So thank you, Joe, for organizing and supporting us back then. We've also had several events. We had a couple of all swab socials where we had got together with the Manhattan and Brooklyn swabs to just have interaction between, across, and since then we've been able to have a lot of additional communications and supporting of legislation and really that connection. And now with the new Bronx swab that's joining, we'll be able to even do more. A few of our meeting locations actually were doubled as tours. So we had generous hosts for Queens Botanical Garden and Materials for the Arts. We represented Queen Swab at the DSNY Food Waste Fair in May of 2019. And we're also tabled at the DSNY Reuse Conference and Community Outreach event. In June of 2019, we coordinated a Sims facility tour. Also in August 2019, thank you, Kara, for hosting us there. And we coordinated a beach cleanup with the help of Joe as well. And so some of these pictures you can see are from some of those events. And here's a photo of some of the folks at Hamilton Beach Cleanup. And then we had also, oh, sorry, that's auto forwarding. Okay, there we go. Applied for and received a grant from the Manhattan Swab. I apologize, it's just forwarding on its own. Stop, I'm sorry. Oh. Anyway, so I'll stop sharing, and Wiley, you can take over at this point. But as she's getting her screen shared, we got a grant from the Manhattan Swab and put on a program called Tote It, Don't Throw It. And Wiley can probably speak a little bit more to that, but we made an effort to get really the textiles reuse and to teach people how to sew. We got donations of sewing machines and reached out to community centers to put on sewing classes. And Wiley really did a great job driving that and making that happen. And so we'd love to see more of these types of activities, but then also really want to see the participation and ideas of all of you as to what more we can do and make a difference for within Queens. Wiley, did you want to go ahead and share? You could share the website and the State of Waste report. And Wiley, you're muted still.
Sorry, everyone. I had the slide set to slideshow. I didn't know it would automatically advance, but we'll try to get to this. So yeah, so this is our website. If you haven't seen it, can everyone see that now? Sorry.
No, Wiley, we don't see it.
Yep. There you go. Yeah, so this is the Queen Swab website that we built on a WordPress platform. Again, we've got we designed our own logo. Again, there's a little bit of the history about the swabs and what the local law that requires each borough to have a swab. I'll go through this quickly. These are, again, some of the people who've been involved with us over the years, some of them who have now joined this meeting and others who are more tangentially involved. Again, the events that we've done and what you guys, the new people, may be interested in are presentations from some of our past speakers. This isn't everything, but these are a number of them. So these are PowerPoints from speakers we had. Thanks to Adam Mitchell, we had the head of composting for the city of Cambridge, Massachusetts, come and speak. We had a wonderful woman from a school in Riverdale talk about right to repair in a school in Riverdale. Our most recent presentation was terrific in March of 2021, Amanda Kaminsky, a building product ecosystem. So these are some, again, resources and information that should live and have a life past the organizing committee. Our most recent addition that's up today is this wonderful map that I'm sure is still going to evolve, but it was created with in partnership with some folks from Beta NYC, Z Kang and some Z Kang Hay and some other people, Anita Chan, who's on this call, and some other folks. And what this map is the result of is really deep diving into what are the assets in Queens, what are the schools that have organics collection or participate in race against waste. What are the community-run food scrap drop-off sites or cleanup groups? What are the for-profit reuse stores and thrift stores in the nonprofits? And so what's really cool, I'm not sure, here we go, I'll just zoom out, is you can see from the legend, we just kind of, to make it simple to read, we narrowed it down to these 4 categories. Again, a public sector that includes libraries, schools, the community-run, for-profit, nonprofit, and you can put in your address and then see and click on these dots, and you can literally see where there's a cleanup group, where there's a CSA, community supported agriculture that could become a place where people could do food scrap drop-offs. This is a responsible shopping store. So it really, but if we zoom out, I mean, it really, already you can kind of see that there's a story here. And the story is about how a lot of assets and resources are really agglomerated in Western Queens. And while there are things in other parts of Queens, there's just not nearly enough, and there's not as many as there could be. And so again, whether this is for the Queens Chamber of Commerce or for bids in terms of the businesses, where there's gaps in terms of having sustainable businesses, again, looking at food scrap drop-offs, looking at schools that participate in ancillary programs, we really are excited about how the community can start to use this to identify for themselves where there are gaps, and then address them locally. And then finally, we just have policy. One of the things that SWABs do is you often draft and prepare testimony. And there's a lot of different issues. The biggest one right now is the executive budget that was just proposed that does have some more money in it for curbside organics and some more money for Grow NYC and big reuse and the New York City Compost Project host sites. But there's still a lot of room there for more for the SWAB to have input. I will try to go back to the slideshow and let me see if I can not have it automatically advance. It should be manual, but we'll see. So I guess I'll just dive into this on this current slide. So again, hopefully people have had a chance to just glance through, not look at any detail I know at the State of Waste in Queens report. This is the effort of about 20 people. And I think what's really important about this report is this was a very low hierarchy project. It was volunteer-led, it was collaborative, it was democratic, and it was really empowering, where people really took on leadership roles without a head, without a particular leader. There were leaders across each of these different sections of the report. And statistics, waste statistics, community needs, community assets, waste impacts, COVID impacts, and then recommendations. Can everyone see this? It's not advancing. Is that okay?
I don't think the screen is shared.
Okay, let's try this again. Share screen, PowerPoint, share. Okay, let's try this again from current slide. All right, can I go back? All right, there we go. Data waste in Queens. Okay. So like I said, low hierarchy. Oh, and it's going to just advance on its own. Well, we will take it one step at a time. All right. So again,
Wiley, excuse me. That's my park, Flushing Meadow Corona Park.
Oh, that's great. That's cool. So 25 people. It took us about a year of weekly and biweekly meetings. Again, with people acting independently, leading their own groups. Okay, now is it working and not advancing on its own, I hope? Yeah. And everyone can see it? Hello?
Yes.
Looks good. Okay. All right. Yes. Perfect. All right. So I'm going to just, again, a very high level overview of these different sections of the report. So first is waste statistics. Again, we really dove into NYC open data, looking at diversion and capture rates. If those terms are new to you, trust me, they're explained in the reports, but it's how DSNY looks at what is the percentage of the waste that we put out on the street as residential consumers that is divertible materials. And if you don't know this, about, again, 68%, I want that number to like really resonate with everyone, of our waste stream is recoverable, is materials that we could be doing other things with instead of shipping them to landfills or incineration. And this is just one image from the report. It compares how Queens is doing relative to the other boroughs. And one of the important things on this slide to think about is that we have Queens, along with Staten Island, has probably the most potentially compostable material of any of the boroughs. We have backyards, we have yard waste. So when and if, I'm going to say when New York City moves to mandatory composting and really educates and does the outreach necessary to help everyone understand why separating your food waste, separating your leaves is an environmental justice issue, it's a climate change issue. It's not hard. It is as simple as what we all do when we separate waste anyway, and that our borough could be one of the leading contributors of diverting organic materials from landfills and incineration. The second slide I'm just going to show here is from the community needs section. In this section, one of the things we, again, look deeply at is 311 reports for the last 2 years. Obviously, this last year with COVID was an unusual year. And you can see that from the table on the right-hand side, I hope we're looking in the same place, where there were a lot more missed collections this year than there were the previous year. There were a lot more dirty conditions, again, derelict vehicles, all of these things that we know were a byproduct of COVID, of staffing cuts, of service cuts. And one of the stories that we learned from this past year is that keeping the city clean and functioning is as important as safety and health in this kind of economic crisis. Is that when people start to see their neighborhoods deteriorate, when they see trash not being picked up, when they see things, people leaving more, things on the street, people lose faith in their city to be able to function properly. So we want to really, call that out as something that we need to create a rainy day fund. We need to make sure that we have a reserve so that if and when there's another kind of crisis, we're not cutting that budget. And you can see again on the left, the community boards that were most affected, that had the most calls, CB 12 and 13. The next section is community assets. Again, this is just one page from the report. It's not everything. This is from a DSNY report about the reuse sector, looking very deeply. I think this report was from, I want to say 2019. It was pretty recently, sorry. And what this shows on the map at the bottom is how our borough compares to other boroughs in terms of opportunities to reuse. Again, we were talking earlier about composting. Composting is great, but actually it would be better, whether it's food or toys or furniture or whatever it is, actually better if we're diverting these things again before we're finding other uses for them rather. And so we can see that Queens is third in terms of the opportunities that there are for people in our borough who want to do the right thing. They want to reuse, they want to donate it, whether that's building materials, which is the second lowest on that chart at the top, or food, which is somewhere in the middle. Queens could do better, right? We've got Manhattan, Brooklyn doing better than us, so we want to improve those numbers. Finally, we're talking about waste impacts. There's a lot more that I can and will say about it, and there's other people on this call who can say a lot more. But one of the things that we know is that, again, construction and demolition waste has a very large impact on our borough. We have rail train lines from MTA, LIRR train lines that come through neighborhoods like CB5, come through other neighborhoods 2 and 3. And those cars are uncovered in many cases, not in all cases, but they're often uncovered, which means there's leachate, there's blow off, there's dust and other kinds of materials that are affecting the air quality in those communities in ways that really are completely preventable. And again, as we saw with COVID, there is a demonstrable relationship between air quality and health. Let me go on to COVID impacts. This is a wonderful chapter, and Rachel Boglin, who's on this call, did a lot of really hard work for this chapter. I wanted to pull out this page because I thought it was really good juxtaposition. We didn't talk a lot about the private hauling industry in this report. We did focus mostly on residential, but we do have this call out. And what was interesting is that we learned during COVID how much of our waste stream moved from the commercial private sector back into residential sector, because people were working from home. So private haulers, people who used to pick up from restaurants, used to pick up from hotels, weren't doing that anymore. So their whole profit model completely changed. Their workers, people had to be laid off in that sector. And then what we also saw, and that's why the other side of the page is great, we saw community members really picking up the slack when the public sector cut back on budget. So we've got Astoria Pug there at the bottom, which created a volunteer food scrap drop-off and compost collection project in Astoria. We've got Paradise Community Garden, I believe it's in Southeast Queens, again, that created one of the first food scrap drop-offs in that community. And that's again because of dedicated community members who really stepped up, especially at this time. These, I just wanted to pull out, there are a lot of recommendations in this report. Again, you can spend time looking at them. I just wanted to pull out 10, just 10. If you guys did, even half of them, that would be amazing, but just to pull out 10 recommendations that I thought were some of the most important that the Queens SWAB could focus on. So the first one, again, is improving our diversion, capture, and contamination rates, especially in these community districts with lower than average rates, and engaging NYCHA residents through a Queens SWAB liaison and vice versa. So we have had a Queens SWAB liaison to a NYCHA committee that was created by the Manhattan SWAB. NYCHA buildings are real powerful opportunities to test and pilot diversion and capture of organics at scale, and to do it in buildings that frankly do not have the infrastructure set up to do that. So there's a lot of work that has to be done there, but we also know that there are NYCHA residents who want to do the right thing and they simply can't because the buildings are not set up for that. The second thing, and that's related to this, is the programs, free DSNY programs for buildings of 10 units or more. That's programs like Refashion New York, eCycle New York, and again, organics collections. The more we can engage, you will see in the report how small a percentage of Queens's thousands of buildings with 10 units or more are availing themselves of these free programs. That is a real missed opportunity the Queens SWAB could be looking into. Number third is ensuring the long-term security of big reuse. Big reuse is one of the New York City compost projects host sites along with Queens Botanical Garden. And right now their space is threatened. They've been there 10 years on a New York City park space that is connected to Queensboro Park. Their lease expired and they are in negotiations with New York City Parks to keep that space, to find them another space, on non-park space. That is not the smartest action to take. They are well established in this park space. Parks uses their compost, community members, including Queensbridge houses, use their materials. The Queens Swab should really be stepping up to defend and work with parks and big reuse around their longevity. The fourth one is about rescuing leftover cuisine. I cannot say enough nice, wonderful things about them. Started by an Astoria resident, Robert Lee. He was one of our first active members. Rescuing leftover cuisine. If you don't know about them, again, what they do is they work with volunteers. They go out to restaurants. They take food that is perfectly good food, healthy food. They make sure that it doesn't go to landfills, and they give it to food pantries, people who are food insecure. Right now, I hate saying this, there is literally one partner in Queens, and that is a bakery, and it is their commercial kitchen. So that really has to change. We need more Queens restaurants signing up to participate with rescuing leftover cuisine. The fifth one is a little bit tangential, but it's about participatory budgeting. So currently, not all Queens community districts participate in participatory budgeting. Participatory budgeting allows community members to have a direct say in millions of dollars of capital funding. In the past, some of the projects that have been proposed are for composting and food scrap drop-off and other waste diversion projects. But if every Queens community district doesn't have the opportunity to do participatory budgeting, those projects will never see the light of day. So that needs to change. Number 6, right to repair. Again, one of my favorite presentations we had was this wonderful woman, Jeannie Crowley. Right to repair is a program that could be done in schools to teach kids how to fix their iPhones, how to fix their computers. It could be a job creation program where we could be helping kids understand how to fix their own electronics and give them skills that could help them in the real world. The next one, waste equity law, and has been talked about before. I'll say it again. Again, 3 community districts in the city share the burden of all of our waste. One of them is Southeast Queens. We need to have the transfer stations in that community covered, fully enclosed, so that, again, leachate, blow off, dust, all of these particulate matters that are hurting community members can be addressed. Again, the waste by rail issue, we've got millions of dollars in the state budget that could be used to repower, it's called, locomotives, so that they are no longer 1970s diesel polluting locomotives, but instead are upgraded to the latest US EPA Tier 4 standards, meaning they are clean and they're non-polluting. That is something the SWAB can be involved in. And then the last 2 are kind of a little bit lighter. But one of them is, I'll do number 10 first. So 10 is, I would love to suggest that the Queensborough president honor the Queens-based volunteer groups and cleanup groups and food scrap drop-offs that helped and responded to COVID-19. I think they're heroes and I think they deserve to be acknowledged. And then the last one is because one of the issues that those groups dealt with so much is public litter baskets. So I would like to suggest that we start to look at more innovative strategies. And one of those is putting gardens in and around our public litter baskets so that we help people think of litter in a whole new way. Let me see if I can go back to my presentation here. If I have a problem, guys, let me know. Stop this share. Let me start a new one. Back at this presentation. Everyone's still following me? Y'all with me still?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, this is my fancy animation. There we go. So that's what a litter basket in Amsterdam looks like. Doesn't look like
Wiley, we missed it. We don't see your screen.
Oh, sorry. Hold on. Escape. Screen share, back to the PowerPoint, back to this, go back to here. Slide. All right, you guys saw the litter basket, I won't go into it. Okay, so a little bit just about the executive board for those who are interested in running. I thought it would be helpful to just understand some of the things that we've done and that people do. Some of the people on this call, again, Kara Napolitano and Rachel Boglin have done amazing work around social media, policy. Myself and Mary Arnold and Andrea have worked on policy. public outreach. We've again done the grant. Mac Lawrence and I presented to a green sustainability group at NYU. So these are some of the tasks that people do. They're, finding speakers, coming up with a theme, making sure we've got diverse representation, sending out emails, making sure notes are typed, blah, blah, blah. I won't go into all of it, but this just gives you a sense of what some of the responsibilities are serving on an executive board of this.
Yeah, and in the bylaws, there are specific roles that will need to be filled for the executive level, which I think will be, probably instructions will be sent out maybe by Alan or somebody to see when those nominations will happen, when the elections will be. We're anticipating that be at the next meeting, but stay tuned for more information. But there will, so at the, Wiley, you want to go back to that slide just real quick?
Sure.
But so yeah, those are the things that we've done as leadership of this, and a lot of support from everybody else. And I think some of this will also be extended to the committees, which again are not yet established. And so that'll be another thing that we'll be able to do.
So last but not least, I wanted to sort of, again, so there are the 10 recommendations I shared, but I wanted to, again, narrow it even further because, it's easy to have mission drift, right? Mission drift, where you're trying to do everything. You're trying to do too much and then nothing gets done. And so in these last few slides, I just want to focus on what I think, and again, please, other people who have been involved in the SWAB, correct me if I'm wrong. But these were, to my mind, the most important issues that the SWAB could be working on. Again, the first one is waste by rail on the waste transfer stations in Community Board 12 and environmental justice. Again, I have some talking points here from my friends at Cures. I'm not going to read through all of them, but I will just say that again, there is no away. Our waste, when we create it here in Queens, it does not disappear. It goes to environmental justice communities all across the state, and goes to Newark, New Jersey, where it's burned. It goes to landfills in Virginia and South Carolina and other places. So, there is a ripple effect of the waste that we create, and we need to think about that. And then at the bottom, can everyone see the bottom of this slide? Because I can see my own remote control, but is it covering something for you guys?
We can see it.
Okay, good. So one of the recent things that's happened that again, some other people can speak more eloquently to than I can, is the recent approval of a new facility in Long Island. If you don't know this, Brookhaven landfill is going to close in 2025, which means guess what? All that waste from Long Island that's been landfilled there, they're going to need to find a place for it to go to. And the next stop after Long Island, folks, is Queens. So we are in store for a lot more waste coming through our borough if we are not thinking about this issue, not just at the borough and city level, but at the regional level and beyond. So that is a really key issue that some folks here, especially from Cures, are being absolutely proactive about. The second issue, there we go. And there's, again, a wonderful map that was created for the State of Waste in Queens report by Z. Hay, looking at, again, the sequence of where our waste starts from, where it goes, and who is affected. The next issue is EPR, Extended Producer Responsibility, and some current legislation put forth by our Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, which I'm going to click on now. It's the Break Free from Plastic Pollution Act, again, which would look at the way that plastic waste, again, is causing significant ecological damage to New York's waterways, significantly harm communities of color, low-income communities. Won't go into all of this now. I will simply, and there's also legislation at the state level around EPR. We are excited about that legislation. We definitely want producers to be more responsible. You and I as individuals should not have to be spending 5 minutes looking at the bottom of a clear plastic container to see what number is on it and what's inside the little triangle to know whether it's recyclable or not. That is not, that should not be entirely up to us. So we need producers to do more, and we need to find more creative ways of packaging products. so that they are, safe and hygienic, but they do not contribute to an ever-growing body of waste in our environment. The next issue is mandatory organics, and the now 4 swabs, 4 out of 5 boroughs now have a swab, which is really exciting. Have been starting a conversation around something we're calling the Envisioning Organics Roundtable. I've been participating in those meetings, and I hope whoever is the next chair will do the same. They need to. So recently our mayor, announced on Earth Day the restoration of curbside organics in 45 districts. It's an opt-in program. It is not mandatory, and it's certain. And a lot of people probably already thrown out their brown bins in the interim when those services were cut. We certainly want curbside organics, and I'll be the first to say I was actually a little bit on the fence about opt-in. I kind of was like, well, maybe that is the best strategy because we want clean materials. If you just give everyone a brown bin and they don't know what to do with it, and they throw a plastic bag in, or they throw some aluminum, it actually does disrupt the system. It's not the best way to do it. On the other hand, we all know that it is not environmentally friendly nor fiscally wise to have large sanitation trucks with workers on them having to randomly go down a street figuring out, this house has a bin, this house doesn't. So really, again, a lot more work needs to be done around community outreach and education on this topic so that everyone understands why, again, taking that little extra step of separating food waste is in all of our interest, and it saves us could, if it's done well, and if we figure out local opportunities for composting, could redirect 420 billion, I think it's billion, everyone, right? Of the money that we now use to export waste to landfills. It's not the best use of our taxpayer dollars. And the last one is my little, I get on my little, course about this every time, is sustainable construction. Again, we talk a lot in the swabs, or we have, about residential waste because you're all homeowners or apartment dwellers, and we know and we care about this at our little individual level. But the truth is, over 50% of our waste is from construction, demolition, industrial sources, and it never gets talked about, and no one ever dives into it, and we need to. This is from our last presentation by Amanda Kaminsky. This shows you, she has a wonderful map on her website, her company's website, that shows the reuse opportunities, deconstruction opportunities in New York City. I don't think you have to be blind to know, sorry, I'm going to go back, that there are not opportunities in our borough. We do not have sufficient businesses that are allowing the general contractors, subcontractors to be able to divert their materials. And then the other site that I think is really exciting is this one, which shows every major active construction site in the city, okay? You could click on any of these dots. You can find out what community board is in. You can find out the address. You can find out more about it. All of these buildings that are being built right now have the potential, if we change our policies, to require that things like drywall, which is one of the worst off-gassing materials you could throw in a landfill, and it's thrown in all the time, would have to be diverted. And we create systems to make sure it's diverted cleanly so that it will not continue to cause environmental harms. Okay, I'm going to end on a really fun note. So what comes next for the Queen's Swab? This is my idea, and I, for some of you know, some of you don't know, that I am actually having to sadly leave Queens, which means I'm having to leave the Queen's Swab, which means I am turning this over to all of you and inviting you into what I think could be a super fun project for the Swab. And I've always said this since we've started the Swab organizing committee. We do important work, we do serious work. And I don't mean to diminish that in any way, but I really believe that the swab should be fun. And anytime people serve in a volunteer capacity, we all do this out of the goodness of our hearts. So we really need to be good to one another and how we treat one another. We may not always agree on every issue on the swab, but we need to be respectful, and ideally we should be having fun when we can. So the fun idea that I would like to propose to all of you is something called Queen's Day. And in the Netherlands, if you're not familiar with this, there was a holiday called Queen's Day that celebrated the Queen's birthday. I guess in 2013, I believe it is, Queen Beatrice stepped down, and now it is called King's Day. And luckily, we have a borough next to us, which is a county of kings. So what happens on Queen's Day, which interestingly enough is happening kind of almost right now at the end of April every year, is that there's a huge festival across the Netherlands. And one of the things that they do in this festival is they have something called a Vrijmarkt. I'm pronouncing that right. And a Vrijmarkt is a free market. It is a huge festival. And obviously no one's wearing masks here. We're gonna keep our fingers crossed that by next April, let's say, we're able to get back to normalcy. And normalcy would mean that we could have our own Queen's Day. And maybe we're in competition with a borough next to us, which is Kings County, and have a King's Day. And at a Vrijmarkt, everyone comes out on the street and they sell and barter and exchange their goods. And so if this link works, I'm gonna take you to a little YouTube. We'll go through the ad in a second. And this shows you,
Wiley, we don't see your video. I think we're still seeing the slide.
sorry, hold on. Hold on. Let me. Okay, I'm not gonna force everyone to keep listening to more Dutch. Did everyone get that? Was everyone able to see it and hear it?
Just see it. I couldn't hear it.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah,
that's
just see.
okay. All right. Well, you got to miss some little children speaking Dutch. But the idea is that to consider the idea of instituting a Queen's Day, and on Queen's Day, people come out on the street and they have flea markets and barters and shares and sell things too. People actually in the Netherlands, people make money. They actually see it as a really wonderful opportunity to make a little side money exchanging their goods and wares. So that is what I leave you with, and encourage the SWAB to consider that as your next project after we did this very serious project of the State of Waste in Queens.
I have a quick question. I was just wondering, like, do you have an idea of like location wise, like something like City Field, the parking lot, or just something, with that scale, if you especially, or just start small and then eventually grow into that, like LIC Flea Market, for example, like let's say that kind of lot scale, but eventually as the year go on, as the popularity will grow.
I leave that's for you guys. I think that's your could be your challenge to take on. So that's all I've got. And I think Amy and I and anyone else, if you have questions, and I already said it in the chat, but I do really want to thank so many people on this call who have really worked so hard on this project. And definitely Rachel Boglin was a huge help on the report. Mary Arnold has been amazing in educating all of us about waste by rail, Andrea about waste transfer stations, and I could go on, but I want to be respectful of time. It's almost 8 o'clock.
Well, if I could take a moment, especially for the new people, we couldn't even begin to thank and you would not begin to realize all the work that Wiley Goodman has put. Talk about a pound of flesh, heart, and soul. And listen, she had great helpers, Amy, Rachel, and many others, and she really kept this thing rolling at a level that was beyond for not being recognized. And now that it's recognized, I think you folks are at a point where as the city opens up again and people rediscover their neighborhoods and start to build again, and you got a borough president who's going to put his time and his money and his voice behind this group, you're at a point where you could blow this up. But truly, we thank Wiley, you were the heart and soul, and thank you very much. And even for me, I have to tell you, I was a believer. Then she took me to Sims, and that was it for me. So, you know, I get where it's going. But Wiley, thank you for your service, and we'll miss you and wish you the best, whatever you're doing.
Thank you.
So the assignment for next month is we need to review the bylaws and come prepared for discussion, as well as to review the state of waste report. Yes? No?
Yes, and if you have any comments or feedback for that discussion, please do send that in advance to, what is it, email? Legal at, sorry, I don't have it in front of me, I lost it. Where did it go?
Legal at queensbp.org.
There it is, yeah. So
yes,
please,
definitely look at the bylaws. Listen, we're all partners. We're all extensions of one another. Look at the bylaws. If you have something that is of concern or a thought or whatever, now is the time. Don't be concerned about, the worst thing you could do is not look at it. Peruse the thing, spend some time, send it in. Whether we vote or not next month on it, I don't know. It depends on how many tweaks we have. But certainly, if you don't look at it and you pass it, and then 4 months down the road, you have challenges, you know, the kickoff and the start of this is critical. And that also goes with the committees. You know what? Look and read that, be prepared, talk about it. No point is not taken well, and we will all find our way.
Joe, excuse me for
Yes.
interrupting. It's Susan Cleary here.
Yes.
But what about a mission statement? Isn't it just more simpler? Because bylaws are really legalese.
Yeah. The bylaws, this is mandated by the city charter. So you need to have bylaws. Now, as you progress, and Wiley and Amy, I think I think they've had mission and vision statements. Now, that doesn't mean that going forward with a new group that you can change and alter as you go off into different committees. I mean, looking at this right now, I can safely say you're triple the members. Amy and Wiley kept this thing together, but now there's threefold. So you need bylaws. Again, city mandated, you know, but take that mission statement. Sure. There should be a mission and there should be a vision. There's one in place. Will it change? Probably, hopefully. You're going to grow.
Wiley, you and your group have done a fabulous job. Fabulous.
Thank you.
I'm so in awe.
It's been a great group of people, really. And like I said, you got to have fun. If people are not having fun doing this stuff, then everyone loses energy and focus. And that's, I know it seems kind of superficial, but it's actually not. It's like keeping people excited and energized and feeling like there's a purpose to what they're doing is how these things keep going.
it looks like
I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled.
It looks like there's a question. Somebody's, yeah.
Hi, it's me, Alon.
Hi, Alon.
Hey, thank you for that. That was a great presentation. I'm really excited to work with you all. I just had a couple of questions. I actually took a look at the report already, and I'll save that for the next time that we meet. I think the first thing that I wanted to say, that slide was very interesting that showed the train route, the route that the trains take with the trash. I would love to see if I can get access to that slide. And I think one of the things that I've been thinking about is, I know we're still in the middle of a pandemic, but can we still set up a tour, a visual tour about how our trash is collected and put on trains? I think it's very important and powerful if we can have an opportunity to do that. And I know that part of our responsibility is to look at speakers that we can get, or guest speakers. And I'm wondering, do we have a budget for I can never say this word, but do we have a budget to get some very renowned speakers around these particular issues? And the last thing that I'll ask is, one of the things that's a pet peeve of mine and something that I'm very passionate about is littering and individuals littering. I've been looking at studies and different things on really looking at the mental hygiene of individuals who litter in their community. I've been looking at the city of Chicago with some interesting things. So one of the things that we suffer here in Southeast Queens are business owners who do business in Southeast Queens but don't live in the community. And they're not very responsive as to picking up their trash, making the place look decent. So one of the things that I was thinking about is, can we have access to the ticket data from DSNY to see who or which are, can we identify the businesses that are the biggest culprits of littering, who, have tickets, et cetera, because I think we need to get them into the room.
Oh, Alan, this is Paul Kersner from CB5. What I do, I'm the chairman of Sanitation Committee of Board 5. And one of the things that we do with we have a small committee of about 10 people, different parts of the board. Each of them is deputized, and after they've gone through a training program, we unleash them, and they can call up. They have the private number for our district superintendent in Q5, and they can call that super up at a set time when they have to call, 7 days a week, and they can report different violations. And if we get the calls into the Q5 by 11 o'clock in the morning, I'm guaranteed of getting a summons to a location before 2 o'clock that afternoon. And so if you have a problem where you have store owners or private property owners who are not obeying the law, there's no reason to suffer in silence. You work out an agreement with your district super, and you have him summons the offending locations.
Okay, Paul, I'm just going to step in because we're going to get cut off here.
Okay.
You're absolutely right. And Elaine, I got to tell you, guest speakers, in your midst, you've got Cody, Guardians of Flushing Bay. You've got Mary Arnold Cures. So you've got right here, and listen, the Queens Chamber is Queens Chamber still on, and Queens County Farm. So my point is, you've got a lot of folks that are right in here that certainly can start with some of your guest speakers. I think what you need to do is set that bylaws, committees, and then decide where you're going to go. Are we on a time frame? See, I'm a little nervous that we got a clock ticking on this.
No, you're good.
Okay, who said that?
Tiffany.
Tiffany. Borough Hall, Tiffany Easton, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so then Paul, I apologize. I cut you off.
That's all right.
That we were going to get kicked off. But one of the folks in the chat, Antonella, mentioned we should get somebody from DSNY. Yes, should you get somebody to look at the rail and the trains and the cures? Yes. So,
yes,
as we step forward and decide, you decide where you're going, and that would be my job to help get. But don't think you have to look too far for those guest speakers. You got them right here. Do you want to, and do you have any announcements, Wiley? Or Amy?
No.
Okay.
No, I
All
don't
right.
think
So then your housekeeping is done, unless there are some other comments from folks. Yes, we should wrap this up. And again, I cannot stress it again. Congratulations. You are in a place that you will make a difference if you move the way we should move. You have the support of a very strong administration. You have some wonderful people representing some wonderful organizations here. Do what you have to do with the bylaws and the committees and then the executive board, and you all have a little niche. You know, I look at Kat Savino, who's here, Up Coastal Network, and that Powell's Cove. I mean, you know, now where you have all these small local things, you're gonna, as a team, you're gonna blow it up. So before we shut off, Tiffany, does anybody else have a comment or a point that they want to make? Otherwise, I will yield. Wiley, do you have a date for the next meeting? No, you do not. That's fine. Any comments?
No, I would say the only thing is y'all should think about who wants to be the chair. So
Well-
nominate yourself. Think about,
You.
yeah.
You can be the chair.
Yeah. Yes, we have to look at the executive board committee. But again,
Yeah.
remember, everybody's an extension of each other. Everybody's equal.
Yeah.
Just, it's important that you pick and just move forward together. Everybody contributes. Everybody.
Think about this. Wiley has done an absolutely incredible job at putting this together.
Susan,
So
if you're voting for her, your vote is wasted. She's leaving.
Oh, Wiley, no.
Okay, that vote's gone. Okay, so think of someone else. But anyway, and look within yourself and what you're doing in your lives. Listen, if you got too much on your plate, you know, sometimes the busier people do that, but truly, let's work on that. See where you are. Don't be afraid to nominate yourself if you see you're the right person.
And Amy and I, in so many ways, we're co-chairs. So you can have co-chairs. You can,
Yeah.
tag team stuff. People, we rotated secretary roles.
Yes.
I'm a big believer in the less hierarchy, the better.
Did you put term limits in? I didn't even see.
Yeah, that's all in the bylaws, but that's up for discussion at the next meeting.
Yes.
So look it over. If you have feedback, send it in email, and yeah, come prepared for discussion.
Please look at it. The worst thing that can happen at the next meeting is people are bringing up points about the bylaws, and then too many people are asking questions that they don't understand. Why? Because they didn't look at it. Look at it. Okay. I'm going to tell Tiffany on 3 to go. Somebody gave me
Next meeting.
We don't have it yet, Paul.
No.
We will have
All
it
right.
soon. Karen, you're raising 4 fingers. I don't know what that means.
It's
Is it-
likely the fourth Wednesday of the month.
Oh, who said that? Kara? Is that what she's doing? Okay, so what's that date? Kara?
Who has a calendar up?
Now we're getting dumb.
It's May 26th.
May 26th, unless you hear otherwise, plan on the fourth Wednesday of the month, May 26th, likely at 6:30 again.
And I am going to stream this, getting the Zoom link and the names together on an email, and do us all a favor as we go forward. You have an idea or you have a thought, make sure you reply all. Let's not start separate chains as we're getting to the next steps. Down the road, when you break into committees, maybe, but not now. Okay.
Can I ask the last question? Wiley, I wanted to ask, in reference to the Brookhaven landfill that's being closed, is that closed already, or is that in the process of being closed?
2025.
2025.
I
When
think
can I-
Dr. Savino, who's on, had that information. Are you there, Doctor? If you want to end that, are you here? He's
Yes,
not-
I'm here.
Good. Did you?
Concerns is that we should have went to gasification a long time ago. The reason why that landfill is getting capped is because of the release of sulfur aerosols and sulfates contaminating the groundwater along with a wide variety of other chemicals. Why are we not pushing towards gasification to capture CO2 and reduce the waste?
I mean, a point to take as we go forward. Doctor, when's the end date again? 2025?
Yes.
Okay, all right, that's not too far away. Okay, so, you know, there is something on the agenda there, and maybe a committee deals with that. Okay, on 3, if we have no, you guys are wonderful. The borough president is very lucky to have you folks. Okay, Tiffany, close us out. Good night, everybody. See you next month.
Thank you. Bye. Good night, thank you.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Good night. Take care, Joe. Take care, everybody.